Hey you guys, it's Laura here. I want to chat with you about an alternative to setting business hours in your Scentsy journey. So you will hear so many amazing rock stars in Scentsy, superstar directors and the likes that have had and experienced great success with setting business hours. For me, that is just it's not my style. I tried and I really felt kind of like stifled a little bit, and I also felt like that I really couldn't pull it off. So I felt like I was making a promise with myself and then not keeping the promise, and then also with my team as well. And so I want to chat with you about what I do. I do want to say that in the beginning of my Scentsy journey, in 2009, I was a mama of a toddler, and I worked 6 days a week, at least 10 hours a day. And so my life back then did demand for me to have some Scentsy hours, I guess, some set business time, because I did work another job and I was a mama. And so my time back then was from 10 o'clock at night to 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, when I tell you that I have sacrificed to be where I am today, that is the truth, okay? It didn't feel like work because I loved it so much, but I do want to let you know that as your life changes, your tools and your schedules may change, and you may do things differently. Back then, I did need business hours. I mean, I just kind of worked Scentsy whenever the heck I could, but I did work after my family went to bed, okay? So nowadays, Scentsy pays all of our bills. Since Scentsy is our full-time income and our full-time job, okay, we can work it whenever we want, but I also homeschool. So what I'm trying to tell you is that depending on the day, when I wake up each day and we're looking at how things are going to go for whichever day it is, a lot of my day is set up depending on whatever schedule we have in school. And then also, my son plays sports, and so there's that we have to take into account. But there's other outside factors. We volunteer, we're super involved in church, and so there's things happening. Anyway, guys, I tried to do the business hours where I knew I was going to be in my Scentsy studio, is what I call my office, from this time to that time, and I felt stifled. I felt like I just was so disappointed in myself if I knew that I had set my business hours from, let's just say, noon to 3, and then we needed to go and do something at the church, or noon to 3 and we wanted to go and do the CrossFit class during that time. I felt so disappointed in myself, like that I was putting something above Scentsy. And so anyway, I have now decided that it's okay for me to not have Scentsy business hours as long as I'm super dedicated and driven to get work done. And so a little bit about me, I'm very task oriented. I actually get a little bit closed up and sad inside if you tell me that I have to go and work Scentsy from, let's just say, noon to 5 p.m. I don't get super empowered, but if you tell me that from that today on my to-do list, the top 5 things that I need to do in my Scentsy business are message each one of my directors and check on them, and package up orders and get ready for delivery, place an order, close out a fundraiser, I get so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, now it's going to take the same amount of time. Still 5 hours, let's just say. But if I am so like hyper focused on how much time I need to spend in my business versus the task oriented, oh my gosh, it's a game changer. I will get so much more passionate about looking at a task rather than a time. And so for me, the business hours thing just didn't work. I'm going to get the work done because I'm driven and determined, and I'm going to do it, okay? But to block me into and narrow it down to me telling myself that I can only work from this time to that time, oh my gosh, that did not work for me, okay? And it worked when I needed it to work. But even then, I wasn't saying I'm going to stop working at 2 o'clock in the morning. No, I had a list on a Post-it note that I had made the night before of the top 5 things I needed to do when I sat down to work my business next. And I just powered through those 5 things and maybe added some, whatever, right? Okay. And then when I got done, I didn't really look at the clock. I didn't really say, okay, time's up, I can go now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to say this, but I'm just saying that if you're task oriented and you're able to work your business at different times throughout the day, then try this. Now, the whole point of this video is actually what I'm about to tell you next. If you don't have business hours, then what you do need to, in my opinion, have is at least times in your calendar, your weekly calendar, that your phone is going to be powered off. If you've heard me speak at all, you've probably heard how doing what you love doesn't feel like work so much that you can actually do it like nonstop, and it will make you crazy, even though you don't even realize you're getting crazy. And so, even though I don't have business hours, defined business hours, I can tell you, and my team can tell you, and my directors can tell you those moments during the week that I will not be available. Those times during the week that my team knows I'm not going to answer them. I'm not going to have my phone on me. They're going to have to wait for me to get out of church, quit working out, do all the things, our family nights, whatever, okay? And so I want to challenge you that, okay, say you do adopt this idea of mine where you don't have business hours, it's more task oriented. I still want you to be super laser focused on having yourself a schedule of when you're not going to work. Because if you work from home, it's very easy for you to do a little bit of Scentsy every single waking hour of your life. And I feel like to be the best and most productive, what really super helps is if there are breaks where you walk away from it and you don't do Scentsy. And so dinners too, let me just tell you, have a lunch, schedule a luncheon every single week, at least one lunch. I don't care who it's with, friend, kid, spouse, parent, mom, dad, sister, brother, I don't care. Just pick somebody. Have a lunch at least once every single week where you do not say the word Scentsy. You do not check your phone. You do not talk about business builders or things that will improve your Scentsy journey at all, okay? And then every single night, make sure that you have a time where you call it quits and where like you stop. I have reminders in my phone. My phone goes off. I use the Rain app. It helps me drown out my husband snoring. But I have that set to where at 8:30 every single night, my phone goes off and says, reminder to be your best tomorrow, you need to go to bed. Am I going to go to bed at 8:30? No. That reminder is actually from me to give myself an extra little nudge that, hey, I need to be wrapping up whatever it is that I'm doing for my Scentsy business. And you can have that set however you want. You tweak it, play with it, make it your own. But I just want to challenge you that if you do adopt this whole, task-oriented rather than time-oriented schedule, make sure that the first thing you schedule is when you're not going to be available. Does that make sense? I hope this helps. Play with it. They say if you do something for 17 days, maybe it's 21, I'm not sure, 17 or 21 days, you will create a habit and you will know whether it's something for your body or something with your time management. You'll feel the full effects of whether or not it was beneficial or if it wasn't. So maybe try this on for 17 days. And see what happens. I can't wait to hear what you think of it.